Navy SEALs shot 3 North Korean fishermen dead in the Black Water. Those SEALs gave the account of that water to the New York Times. A nuclear submarine came into North Korean water that night. The submarine put the SEALs into the sea in 2 mini-subs. The mini-subs are not dry cabins with seats. They are flooded, and the SEALs ride the whole way with the sea inside them, in the cold. The mini-subs stop short of the beach. From there they swim the rest of the way, surfacing now and then for a look at the shore. Some of the SEALs go ashore. The rest stay in the water, 100 meters off the coast, in cold enough to kill them. They are breathing through rigs that release no bubbles. Nothing rises off those rigs, so from a boat 10 meters away there is nothing to see. There is only water. The SEALs rehearse this for months in freezing water. Everything they are about to do depends on one thing being true. The cove is empty. And then a light comes across the water. The light is a small working boat. 3 fishermen in diving suits are aboard it, and the boat is directly over the SEALs. The boat sits 10 meters away, and nobody aboard it can see them. The rigs are the whole reason. Nothing vents and nothing surfaces. These are the SEALs who killed Osama bin Laden, and they brought months of rehearsal, a nuclear submarine, and rigs invisible from 10 meters. None of it lets them move while that lamp is over them. They cannot swim away without breaking the surface. They cannot stay where they are if the lamp drops any lower. There is no good option in that water. Then one of the fishermen stands up on the deck, steps over the side, and drops into the sea. The fisherman swims toward the SEALs. He cannot see them. He does not know they exist. Years after this night, the FBI will knock on one door in America over what happens in this water. Whose door it is tells you exactly how a thing this size stayed buried. The SEALs came for a microphone, not a hostage, and not a strike. One listening device, planted on that coast, aimed at Kim. Kim was negotiating with the United States about nuclear weapons. The device was meant to catch him on his own equipment, saying what he actually wanted the moment he left the table. The plan died the moment anybody saw the SEALs, and they were seen at the worst hour of the whole negotiation. Within days, Kim would shake hands with Trump in front of the world's cameras, and the SEALs were crawling onto Kim's coast with rifles. There was no cover story for that. If they were caught, the only thing on offer was the truth, standing on a beach with a rifle. With that microphone, Trump would have walked into the room already knowing Kim's bluff. Trump approved the operation. In public, Trump called his letters from Kim beautiful. He said the 2 of them fell in love, while off Kim's coast the SEALs came to steal his voice. Nobody outside the operation would hear a word of it for 6 years. Back in that water, none of this has happened yet. Out in the dark, the submarine is waiting in water where it has no business being. Off that coast, right now, the fisherman in the water is still coming down. The fisherman in the water is swimming down toward the seabed. The SEALs are in the water between him and the bottom. He is close enough now that they can see the shape of him coming down. And every option those SEALs have is bad. Surface, and they are seen. Stay, and they are found. Shoot, and the sound carries across open water to a shore full of soldiers. The fisherman keeps coming down. He is not looking for anybody. He does not know there is anybody to find. No order comes down about him. Not from the submarine, not from Washington. Whatever happens next gets decided in that water, in seconds. The lead SEAL fires first. Then all of them fire, upward, out of the water and into the boat above. 2 of the fishermen are still standing on that boat when the firing begins. Both are shot where they stand. It is over in seconds. The light goes out. The engine dies. All 3 fishermen are dead. All of this comes from the SEALs who were there, talking to the New York Times years later. No government has ever confirmed a word of that account. Nobody who was in that water has ever described those seconds in public. The shooting was over in seconds. What the SEALs found when they climbed onto the boat was not. They went through that boat and found no uniforms and no weapons. Nothing aboard it tied the fishermen to the North Korean military or to the state at all. The fishermen were civilians, in the water at night for shellfish. The SEALs had come to plant a microphone without a single person ever knowing they were there. Now, 3 civilians were dead on the water. Nobody in that water was going to explain this later. The only thing left to do was make sure nothing was ever found. Then the SEALs put the bodies into the sea. First they punctured the lungs with knives, so the dead would sink and stay down. This is the account the SEALs gave the New York Times. Those 3 fishermen had gone out at night to gather shellfish. The most expensively trained unit on Earth cut them open so they would not float. Then the SEALs called the whole thing off. Somebody on that shore had probably heard the shooting, and a firefight on a North Korean beach was the one thing that could not be allowed to happen. So they swam back out, got into the mini subs, and left. The listening device went into the water in its case, and came back out in its case. It was never planted. Everything the SEALs did on that water bought the United States nothing. The SEALs reached the submarine and then a base in South Korea. On that coast, the water closed over the fishermen. Weeks later, in Hanoi, Trump sat down opposite Kim in front of the world's press. He had no microphone in place and no idea what Kim would settle for.
But sometimes you have to walk, and this was just one of those times.
The summit collapsed. No agreement, no signing, both sides home early. 3 fishermen were dead, and the negotiation they died for produced nothing at all. Not a bad deal, nothing. And then, for 6 years, nobody said a word. Congress was never told a word of it, not the intelligence committees, not the leadership. There is a law that says they have to be told about an operation like this one. Nobody told them, and nobody has ever been charged with breaking it. Then the Pentagon investigated itself, in secret, and charged no one either. No charges made public, no statement, no admission that the raid had happened at all. The United States has never even said how many people died on that water. 6 years, the fishermen were on the seabed where the SEALs left them, and nobody in Washington said a word. The secret held for 6 years, then the New York Times printed it, sourced to 24 people.
Tonight, the extraordinarily dangerous top-secret Navy SEAL mission inside North Korea.
One of those reporters was Matthew Cole, and Cole had known since 2023. He sat on the story for 2 years, because making calls any earlier would have exposed his source. So none of this is the whole story. It is only what could be printed. The same day that story ran, Trump was asked about it in the Oval Office.
I don't know anything about it. I'm hearing it now for the first time.
So nobody answers for it. Except the FBI did knock on one door in America. It was not a SEAL's door, and it was not an Admiral's door. In February of 2026, agents served a grand jury subpoena on Matthew Cole. Prosecutors in Virginia are demanding years of Cole's records to identify the people who told him what happened in that water. The New York Times made that subpoena public on the 1st of August, 2026. Cole's lawyer says he will honour his commitment to his sources. So no one has been charged over 3 dead fishermen. The only person facing a grand jury is the reporter who told you they existed. And the 3 fishermen have never been named by anyone, anywhere. The reporting does not say whether the fishermen in the water ever came back up. There is no photograph of them. There is no account from the other side. No family is on television asking for an answer, because North Korea does not admit it lost anybody that night either. 3 fishermen are the only people in this entire story who did nothing wrong, and they are the only ones nobody can name.